Tiny pebble, tiny pebble. I got a tiny pebble and it's stuck in my shoe.
There's a tiny pebble in this man's shoe.
Tiny pebble, a tiny, tiny pebble. I gotta kick off my shoe and give that tiny pebble the boost.
Yeah. Tiny pebble.
Got a sprinkle on my hand, 'cause I didn't want the soda can. I specifically asked the clerk to get my drink from the fountain. And it's not every soda machine, just the ones that aren't touch screen. Got a sprinkle on my hand and it's starting to annoy me.
Exactly those soda machines. I know what you're talking
Now I gotta rub my eyes 'cause my contacts are getting dry. Got a pebble in my shoe, sprinkle on my hand. Gotta rub my fucking eyes again. Now I'm naked in the mail, only YMCA steamer room. Oh no, is that same gay dude? Who sat too close to me last time, sits too close to me again. I look forward and pretend like it's not happening. These are minor annoyances, first class problem list. But you gotta admit, it's better than the alternative. We could be dying of malaria or being eaten by big tigers that scare ya. Thank God we all live in America. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just crying the blues now. Oh, Lord. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest podcast known to mankind, the anti-George Carlin podcast. And today I'm going to be talking about my recent trip to Mexico to take a drug called Ibogaine that comes out of Gabon, Africa, and seemingly has been used for millennia. Why I went, and I'll briefly go into this. I don't want to get into the darkness and the pain of the past 13 years being addicted to heroin and fentanyl and losing my older brother, January 18th, 2016. You can imagine the amount of suffering that goes on in a family dynamic. So I was going to die. I've overdosed 9 times. The first time I overdosed, I remember saying, oh no, what did I do? Oh no. The second through the 9th time, my response was not again. Like I was mad I woke up. So I go down to Mexico and you pass through the border, and I'm going to do this more of a justice in the future to provide some cinematography and some film I took while I was down there. But I get there and they instantly put me on morphine sulfite and Xanax, which is like an addict's dream. It's a very compassionate way to treat someone that's in pain, I would say. A lot different than giving them pharmaceutical drugs like Suboxone and methadone. I couldn't even cry on methadone. I spent a period of my life, 3 years, I couldn't even shed a tear on methadone. It's a horrible drug. Suboxone's even worse. Precipitated withdrawal, hospitals, jails. So the fact that they put you on morphine and Xanax was somewhat of a relief. And you kind of wake up to the fact that the medical industrial complex in the United States does not know how to treat addiction. It really does not. It has a statistically low probability. If you go to rehab, are you going to be better? And everyone gets insanely introspective and they stop living life in a way. That's my experience. I stopped living life freely, and I always had this impending fear and this doom that would wash over me, and I would get exhausted, and then I would relapse. That was my thing. I couldn't stop relapsing or being on some sort of maintenance. So Ibogaine this is my experience. I have no cravings. I have no semblance of wanting to return to that dark, ghost-like existence. When I took Ibogaine, you're slightly in withdrawal, and it's a powerful psychedelic. It's like the most powerful psychedelic I've ever taken, bar none. It's insanely powerful. And I don't know if I'll start, talking about my experience in a more comedic way, but man, Ibogaine is funny. It's really funny. It's a really funny drug. I can't believe it exists. First of all, I can't believe it exists, but it's really funny. And I don't know if I'm stronger than Navy SEALs or something, but all the Navy SEALs were like, I was going through these dark memories. And, my dad's, there's a Netflix documentary that you watch when you get there. And for me, it was a totally different experience. I started feeling consciousness itself. Oh, it's getting louder. It's loud, dude. They give you earplugs, right? They give you earplugs. I started messing with the earplugs almost instantly. It was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I felt as if that was consciousness. I was in between these dreams of like being a Nazi warlord in Dresden before the bombings in World War II. And I would switch to like surfing this giant blue wave. I'm surfing, going down this wave. It's just so intense, nonstop, just going on this. You can't even stand up, dude. I couldn't even stand up on the board. I was just, let me see your knees. I couldn't stand up on the surfboard. That's how powerful this wave was. And this whole time, you're hearing noises, whoa, 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 whoa. And it's a very boisterous drug at first. And once you kind of relieve yourself of ego, which I think addicts can do very easily. I think addicts are extremely spiritual people. And what I did was numb like the song Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd. I numbed myself because the sensations of consciousness, it was too much. I think it's too much for a lot of addicts. And that's a way of escaping to a place of connection is by using. So this is what people do not talk about. And if this can help any addict that wants to try Ibogaine, it's not like what people talk about on documentaries. It's a physically and emotionally draining process. But I'll just speak physically. The physical symptoms after were horrible. I didn't sleep for 9 days. It's December 20th. This is the first podcast I'm doing or talking about this publicly. And it was a very, very hard ride, but I stuck it out. You got to stick it out. It gets better every day, but I truly did not sleep for 9 days. There's an insomnia factor for heroin addicts and fentanyl addicts afterwards that is not talked about, and it should be, because you can get through it. I didn't know. I didn't have anyone to talk to. I kind of had to figure this out on my own. So that's basically a brief synopsis of Ibogaine. It's funny. For me, it was funny. It was a really funny drug, and I had this relationship with myself that I had to rebuild, and we were laughing. And at one point, I was talking about being a warlord in Nazi Germany and surfing this giant blue wave. At some point during this, I had to recapitulate meaning itself. And the message I want to bring to this podcast is Dad's rule. Dad's rule. Today I got to skin a buck with my dad. And I was just there for once in my life. Like, I just felt there with him. And Dad's rule, dude. Dad's rule so hard. It's like he's the man. My dad's, if everyone says that about my dad, dude, would kick my grandfather's ass. He's the man, dude. My dad he's truly the best. He's literally the best. I love my dad. If you have not given your dad a hug in a while, just go and give him a hug. It's Dad's rule. Mom's rule too. My mom made me this soup when I got home because it's a physically hard process after doing Ibogaine. getting back on your feet. She made this soup, and I just felt an understanding and love through this soup my mom made. And this is after, way after Ibogaine, 17 days. It's a very slow process. I will just mention that. And we'll get on to the 5-MeO DMT that I smoked 2 days after Ibogaine. Again, no sleep. I'm in Mexico. I'm laying under this tree, and I smoked the DMT. And here's the thing with psychedelics. If you go, look, man, you're on drugs and you're doing drugs to get off of drugs. What are you talking about? This is all nonsense. I wouldn't chuck it all away. This is what I will say. Why is it that DMT is in every living organism? It's in your pineal gland. Why is it that in the Amazon forest, they had two, some branch and some root, and they mix them together as an MOAI inhibitor that allows it to be orally active as a hydrogen oxide group, I believe, that makes it orally inactive, but it's very similar in organic chemistry structure to psilocybin. So why is it that these two elements, these naturally occurring things on this planet, make DMT, and people in the Amazon have been using ayahuasca for so long? Why is it that mushrooms have this effect with people? How come DMT is in every living organism? Ibogaine. Why is it that this root can cause such a profound, amazing effect and cure addiction? You remember who you are. It's a tool. And, I don't think that drugs are an outlet or an answer to any internal spiritual malady, but I will say that for me, it's working out. It's doing okay. It's doing okay. It's doing its job. I feel good. I feel great. I got to be there with my dad. It was like, that's such a gift, man. It's such a profound gift. Time's not a renewable resource. So, if anyone is struggling, this is another part I wanted to just mention during this podcast. If you are going through mental health issues or addiction, and maybe were like me and you just didn't want to wake up, before you do anything, go try this. That's it. What do you have to lose? If it's already that bleak, I think it's in dire circumstances, it's sometimes necessary. And it's strange that these things exist, man. It's very strange and peculiar that these are naturally occurring plants, roots on this planet. It's like magic. And maybe the relationship we have to these psychedelics are far deeper than we perceive. Maybe it goes back to our ancestors. Maybe that goes back to evolutionary biology. Maybe we've been here on this planet way longer than we think, and we develop these amazing relationships with these plants and psychoactive substances. And, if it wasn't for the weird programming of America, we would be more open-minded to something that connects you back to life. I'm no longer a ghost. Last thing I want to say about this experience is that it's truly funny. It's truly for me, it was fun. Everyone has a different experience, but me, it was like all about comedy. Ibogaine was talking to me, it was giving me jokes and punchlines. And at one point, after I recapitulated the meaning itself, I'm like, I'm here because of my dad and my mom. And it's so important. It's so important. So I have a profound new respect for my parents. But I'm drifting off in thought here. I want to keep it on track here. Ibogaine is funny, and it was all about comedy to me, and how it gave me a new profound respect for comedy. Comedy, the way I experienced it when I was going through this incredible psychedelic experience, that it's sort of a weapon. Comedy itself you can de-escalate situations. You can let people live and just breathe. And maybe comedy itself is so important that I think it's stronger than any government. I think it's something that if you're really good at it, you know, you can be like a Joe Rogan. He has the pineal gland thing on his Joe Rogan Experience, dude. I think psychedelics have helped him in comedy in ways that we can't possibly understand. He is a presence on stage. It's something I've never seen before. Everything's intentional, and the way he owns the stage was very interesting when I saw him in Austin. But regardless, what I'm saying to you is not the horror stories that you hear about Ibogaine. Ibogaine for me was funny. It was truly, truly hilarious. And I'm laughing for hours and just building this new relationship with myself. And Ibogaine provided this second chance for me at comedy because I was kind of aimlessly bouncing around and not really knowing what I was doing. And there's a preparedness that I want to bring to comedy now as if it is a weapon. If it can stop a Nazi Germany or being a warlord in Nazi Germany. It can truly stop horrific things like fentanyl poisoning. Bring as much love as you possibly can out into the universe. I'll be doing the same, and maybe there will be enough love for that fentanyl addict on the side of the street. Maybe there's enough to help some people before it takes their life. So anyways, that's my brief experience with Ibogaine and 5-MeO DMT. First podcast coming back. Very grateful.